Today is Thursday, February 16th, 2023, and today I'm reading Isaiah chapter 18. It's a pretty short chapter, and then I'm going to talk about stuff in the skies, and that'll be it for this video. Before I read this, because I just want to read it as one continuous thing, because it's very poetic, and this part of Isaiah, all of Isaiah really has just been so poetically beautiful. And here they talk about the beyond the rivers of Ethiopia in the first verse. And I think that through context and reading Isaiah, it's pretty clear that places are being mentioned, and like Lebanon hardly ever gets mentioned without referencing the cedars of Lebanon. And it's symbolic for strength. And I think that's really clear from the text. So same thing with rivers of Ethiopia. I really don't think that Ethiopia would be mentioned alongside rivers unless Ethiopia was well known for having a lot of rivers and being a land flowing with water, which is not what I think of when I think of Ethiopia. I guess it has 9 rivers, 12 lakes, but there's hardly any perennial flow. Yeah, I don't think of Ethiopia as being a land of rivers. And that's not to say that that land in particular, what we call Ethiopia today, maybe it did have more lush rivers in the past. And geographies can change. Like damming, building dams is one of the biggest ways that humans can terraform or change landscapes. And it's possible that areas that used to be really lush, like I think it's very possible that Australia used to be really lush, but then I think it's entirely possible that humans directly intervened to cause huge desert wastelands in places. I think that's very possible. Anyways, that's just some thoughts that I had. Let's read this and then get into the UFO outer space stuff. Isaiah chapter 18. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters. That's like the same thing that baby Moses was in, just a little vessel of basically grasses. So anyways, this part is really interesting, this mentioning of these people that send out ambassadors on these rickety little boats. It's just, I know I said I was going to read this all the way through, but I wanted to point out the connections to baby Moses. And just this part is so interesting. Who were these people that were just sending people out on these rickety vessels to be prophesizing? Okay. That sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go, ye swift messengers, to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from the beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All ye inhabitants of the world, and dwellers on the earth, see ye, when he lifted up an ensign on the mountains, and when he bloweth a trumpet, hear ye. For so the Lord said unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place, like a clear heat upon herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For afore the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches. They shall be left together unto the fowls of the mountains, and to the beasts of the earth. And the fowls shall summer upon them, and all the beasts of the earth shall winter upon them. In that time shall the present be brought unto the Lord of hosts, of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from the beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden under foot, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, the Mount Zion. Do you see the repetition of whose land the rivers have spoiled? So much in Isaiah is just coming off very poetic, and I love the repetition of important ideas. Like, really, would Ethiopia be this like desert wasteland if he mentions 3 times about the rivers and whose land the rivers have spoiled? I don't really think of modern day Ethiopia as a place where the rivers have spoiled the land. So about this, all this stuff in the news, I really don't have that much to say. I think a lot of it is a bunch of BS. Like, do you know how nowadays people are always talking, well, you can see the ISS up in the sky. How come we weren't able to do that a long time ago? Hasn't the ISS been up in the sky allegedly for a long, long time? Why can you even see something? That's my question. I don't even believe something that small that's allegedly that far away. You just can't see it. That's not how things work. You shouldn't be able to be able to see a clear image of the ISS. I think it's just they're practicing Bluebeam tech, and the fact that you can only do it these days. How come within the past 5 years or so, people are like, grab out your telescopes and follow the ISS and look at it with your eyes? You're probably seeing Project Bluebeam in action. And but my point is, why weren't people doing this however long ago? Since the very first day that people should have been looking while they were building the ISS. How come people weren't looking with their telescopes to see when they were building the ISS? Oh, there's half of it built. It's because it's just a bullshit. What I always like to point out is, you know how around Christmas, on Christmas Eve, they put a red light in the sky because it's Rudolph's nose? Okay, that doesn't mean just because you can go out and see Rudolph's red nose and there's trackers. You know, on Christmas Eve, you can do the trackers to see where Rudolph is, just like you can track where the ISS is. Same bullshit. There's no outer space. The ISS is underwater. It's scuba. That's why there's tales of NASA astronauts almost drowning. Anyways, probably a cover-up, this stuff. One thing that comes to mind is, do you guys remember? I forget exactly when it was, but one night I was just out at night looking at the stars, and I saw a comet. With my bare eyes, I could see the comet. And nobody was making any big deal about it. I'd never heard anything about it on the news. This was a few years ago. It was beautiful, and nothing about it in the news. But then what happened recently, they've been talking about this green comet thing. And I've been looking. I didn't see anything. It's not noticeable. So I just find it very interesting that real life things, like I saw a comet in the sky that nobody was talking about, but then everybody's talking about this green comet and you can't even see it. It's like so dim. So the news is total bullshit and distraction, and they ignore real stories or downplay them. Like, how come there was a comet a few years ago that came out of nowhere, but the news didn't make any big deal out of it? I could see it with my naked eye. This should have been a huge deal. But then this one, the news makes a huge deal out of it, and I can't even see it. And same thing with this UFO and this balloon stuff. Balloon satellites have been a known thing. If you've been researching flat Earth for the past 7 years or whatever, balloon satellites is nothing new. We've seen many, many pictures of the same exact thing. It's just that they're putting it on the world stage. I don't know if it's a cover-up. Like, one of their balloon satellites came down. Somebody brought up a good point that maybe it has something to do with the firmament coming down. That's why these spy satellites we're having more eyewitnesses of them. But again, it's like, this isn't new. I've seen images of balloon satellites coming down in Africa and places for years now. So why is it hitting the mainstream? This balloon thing, when there's bullshit in the media, it comes in threes. What do you know? Details are sparse about the 3 objects shot down in the wake of the Chinese balloon episode. Who knows? It almost does seem like the China story was just made up on the spot to cover this thing, but it could have been orchestrated from the beginning. I don't know. But yeah, my thoughts. I've kind of been rambling, but let me kind of pull it together. Here are my thoughts. A couple years ago, I was seeing stuff in the sky all the time. I don't know what it was. Angels. It looks like a star that's just moving. And sometimes they'll move in strange patterns or zoom off or stay stationary for a while. But I honestly haven't been seeing it in the sky very much. But a few years ago, it was like every night I went out, I could see something in the sky. Something strange and unusual. But it's been kind of quiet recently. So I don't know. my guess is distraction, and the fact that they have to push this outer space stuff, the alien thing. I think that this is just confirmation that yes, they are going to go forward with the fake alien invasion, because that's all that they can do at this point. They've really painted themselves into a corner with the outer space lie and all the alien pre-programming. And yeah, I still firmly believe that the mark of the beast is going to be involved with the fake alien invasion. They'll say that you need to get this vaccine for either biological warfare that the fake aliens are putting down, or they'll say that it's some strange alien disease. I mean, knowing the media, there's going to be a lot of confusion and chaos about it. There will be many theories, I'm sure, to what's happening. But the point is that it'll be mandated, and it'll be exactly like what we saw with the whole Rona thing, but just turned up to 11. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but people wanted me to talk about this balloon stuff. I think it's distraction, and kind of like, yeah, we already knew, but I think what this could be signifying, some good thing that could be coming from this, is just continual awakening for people. I think that just like in 2017, how there were some big awakenings, the more bullshit that the clowns on the world stage come out with just means more and more people will wake up, and this could be the beginning of a new wave of people waking up. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone.